In this video, we are going to start with Panda data frame. And what's the first thing we will do? We are going to look how to create a data frame from a dictionary of list. Remember, a dictionary is key value pair, but this time we are not just looking at key value. The value will be a dictionary of list. Remember what a list is. So basically, I'll say creating of list. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll just paste some data to gain time. So this is the key and this is the value. You can see it's a list. It's a dictionary key. You have the name, age, city, occupation, and there we go. So how do we convert this into a data frame? I'm going to use let me just put it in something. df equals pd. Now it's important to, let me just import Panda because I went off for a long time. I'm not sure the things I did earlier is still valid. So I'll just say Panda as pd. It's true we already imported it, but I'm not sure it's still active. So I'll just import it once again to avoid having errors. Data frame. F again is still capital. So D capital and F capital. Now I'll put dict, and that will give us a data frame. And now we can print it, or we can just, so generally I really don't like print in it. I'll just say df. Okay, so that's what we have. So you can use print. I generally use print if I want to take a look at several things at the same time, and it's quite, you can say it's compressed. But here, I just like the look and feel of this, because this is gray, white. That's just a personal preference. And all of this is coming from what we created here. Now the next thing we want to do is to create a data frame from a list of list. Okay, remember the first one we created, it was from a dictionary of list. So we had a dictionary, but within it we had list. This time it's from a list of list. So I'll just paste it. So the list starts with a square bracket, but within it we have a list. So this is one list, this is another list, this is another, but we've created a list of list. So now we will use the same approach to create it. I'll just say data frame, let me just say L. Okay, it's not one, data frame L. Give any name you want. Actually, I'll just say one to distinguish and be consistent. So we'll have pd.data frame, and here, actually I'll change this. I'll just call this L list. So L list. So list of list. And once we've done that, I can have df1 to see what it looks like. If you want to use print, feel free in doing that. Now, there is one thing we need to do before we move on. We should just give the name of the columns, because if you take a look here, you have the index, you have the names of the columns here. If you run it, you will not have any head of columns. Now remember what we saw in the previous sessions. We saw how we could add names. So in this case, we'll say columns. So when we were dealing with series, we were adding names. But when we come to a data frame, we we do something like this. Now, before I get here, let me just add something here so that I don't need to manually add it. I'll just say column names, and I'll create a list of the names I want to put for the column. I'll have name, age, city. Else we will manually type it here. So I'll just put it there so that when I come here, I just put column names. That's much better for readability, so that if I need to change, I just change here and it's going to cascade down. Okay, let's run it and see what happens. So that's it, name, age, column. Else we would have had something stupid there. So there we go. So this time we want to create it from a list of dictionaries. So I'll say list of dictionaries. So ldic. There we go. So you have, this is a list. We open with that. And within the list, we have the first dictionary. You can see the key value pairs. This is dictionary 2 and the third dictionary. This is just a comment. The comment is simply saying we have decided to introduce a missing data, to have a missing city. For example, here we have name if, age, city, that. Here we have name Frank, age 40, occupation lawyer. There's no city here. Name Grace, age, city Madrid, occupation. Here we have no occupation. Here we have no city. So we've introduced two missing things there in ldict. So list of dictionaries. So now I want to convert it into a data frame. So I'll call it data frame list. Let me just say 2 so that it's not confusing. PD data frame ldict, and in this case we don't need to add any other thing to it. The only thing we need to do now is to run it. TF2, shift enter, and you can see where we have missing values. Here we have not a number, not a number. So these are the values which are missing. And this is a common phenomenon when you are analyzing data, to come across missing values. Now we want to look at some data frame attributes. Then we will look at data frame methods, but before that, let's just create a data frame. I'll call this DDF or data frame 3, really doesn't matter. I'll run it. Actually, I'll run it and print it so that we see that data frame 3. Okay, let's see. Okay. I am going too fast. I hope I'm not getting tired. So basically, this should not be DD3. This is just a normal data frame. Okay, doesn't matter what I write there. So DD3 data frame. So here it's going to be PG dot data frame, and then we will put the and then GF. That's it. So this is basically what we want, and we will use it to play around. Okay, time to start with the attributes of the GF3. The first one we want to take a look at. Remember, when you are looking at attributes, you don't have the brackets around it. So the first one is going to be shape, and you will see, just take a look at the shape. How many columns do you have and how many rows do you have? that's what it's going to give you. So you have 5 by 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and you have 4 columns. That's just what the attribute is giving you. Let's take a look at the next one. We've seen shape. Let's look at the data type. And we can see the different data types by the name of the columns. So generally a column has a consistent data type. You don't mix data type in a age. You don't have age integer and all sorts of things. Generally, not always, but generally you have a consistent data type. For example, here age is integer, city is an object, salary is integer, and so on. Why do we call it an object? It's because generally a string data type or characters fall under object depending on the coding language. So the next one, df3, let's take a look at the index. And we will see it starts at 0, it stops at 5 with a step of 1. You can see that 0, step of 1, you have 5 of them. So when it says stops at 5, it means 5 exclusive. So it doesn't add 5 to it. Next attribute, we can use values. So all the things you use when you are dealing with series, you can use the same here. So these are the values. You'll see it has no key. You have no name, age, city, salary. You just have the values in there. But of course, you know this is name, age, city, and what's even that? Yeah, salary. Do we even have that here? Okay, I'm doing DF. That's why it's getting me confused. DF3. Okay, that's it. You have salaries. Fantastic. Now we want to move on to something else. We want to take a look at the methods. So you can also call it the different functions. So now let's start with the first one, df3. Generally, if you are given a data set, you want to first run the info of the data set because it's going to give you information. Here, for example, you can see the different data types. You can see that you don't have any null values. You can see the number of rows. You can see the name of the columns. Columns, non-null, count, data type. It tells you immediately so that if city is the wrong data type, you can change it. So this is a very important initial data exploration technique for you to know how your data looks. The next one, which is for me the most used, df3, people generally run a head and a tail. Let me just say 2. I want to see the first 2 rows. Or df3, I want to see the last 2. So df.tail. Okay, there we go. Now, what if we want a sample of it? So you can have maybe 1,000,000 rows, and then you just run a sample to see. It will randomly choose a subset of the data. So pf3.sample. Now we can choose what the sample will be. So randomly choose 2. So we can see it has chosen that. If we run again the same, we see it has changed it. So it randomly choose the number. If you put it to, let's say, 3, it will randomly choose those 3 data sets. Now let's put describe, df3 describe. And there we go. We can see age, salary, count, blah, 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 blah. You see there's no describe for the categorical data because you are looking at a data of type string, or you can call it object. But when you are dealing with integer or float, you will have it. So if we still run the same thing, df3, this time we decide to say describe, but at the end of it, we put point t, then you will see it flips it. It transposes it. So that's the whole idea behind. Then at times it just makes it a bit more readable for you to have things this way. So I think that's it. In the next one, we are going to look at something more interesting, and we will build on what we've just done here. My recommendation is do not move to the next lesson if this one is not very clear. Have fun.